Well, good morning, everybody. It is a frosty one today. We've got the chickadees fed and the truck warmed up, and we're headed into town for supplies. And when we get back from town, I'm going to tell you what we did yesterday, and I'm going to show you something that was gifted to me from a subscriber who watches the channel. So stay tuned. Recently, I was contacted by members of the channel who do maple syruping as well. And they were in the process of upgrading their equipment, so they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to have one of their old evaporators for making maple syrup sap. And so of course I jumped on that opportunity. So yesterday I road tripped into the heart of the Superior National Forest, and I visited with Dave and Mona on their 120-acre sugar bush off-grid camp. And had a good opportunity to talk to Dave about not only some building ideas, but also maple syruping. And he's got quite a bit of experience with that, so lots of things to take away. So on the way home, I made a little side trip down to Duluth where I met my son for dinner and got to spend some time with him, so that was really nice. So by the time I got back to the cabin last night, it was late and I pretty much just went to bed. So here's the maple syrup evaporator stove that I got from Dave and Mona, and it's really neat. And Dave said that he has had to replace the barrel on it once, but all of the brackets and all of the parts were actually made by his father. So not only did they gift me with this absolute cool stove, which will make my syrup process so much more efficient, but they also kind of passed on a bit of the family history. So now every spring when I make maple syrup, I'll be connected and reminded of them. So thanks, Dave and Mona. It was great meeting you. I really appreciate the stove, and I look forward to chatting with you guys in the future. But as you can see, it's another beautiful day in northern Minnesota at the end of November. But I'm going to get cracking on that bunkhouse project, and we still have lots of other projects, so I will catch up with you guys later. I cannot believe that it is the third week in November, and it's probably 40-some degrees out. So this is the last chance for me to get the yard stuff done before winter. All these little chores I've been putting off, all this wood that needs to get cut up and split and hauled before it gets covered in snow. It's time to deal with as much of that wood as I can today. Unfortunately, my future looks like there's going to be a lot of splitting. But at least I got it cut up. That was on the list. All right, out of gas. Looks like it's getting to be that time. It's probably about 4 o'clock, quarter after 4 probably. So we should probably start picking the tools up and thinking about some supper. That was way easier than I expected. Nice, fresh, compost black dirt. These little onions here, maybe I'll use these in, I'm gonna make some venison stew in the next few days. Maybe I'll throw these in the stew pot. Why not? No sense letting them go to waste, might as well use them for something. Can't believe it's 15th of November today. It's crazy. Love these El Nino years. I gotta find the garlic. The other ones will have to get filled up in the spring. Just didn't have room in the van to bring more buckets this time. I got this nice bucket at the recycling center, and And they had maybe a dozen of them. And this one had RV antifreeze in it. So not ideal, but at least it's non-toxic. But I do have a couple ideas. There were some black ones with the tops cut off, and I think I might grab 1 or 2 of those for rain barrels. But if a guy was going to make a shower house or something like that, you could cut them in half and have the 2 domed halves, and you could make kind of a generic leach field, so to speak, and have a drain pipe come into the top here, and then have a gravel base with good drainage buried under the ground, maybe 3-4 feet below the frost line. That way a guy could theoretically have a way to dispose of shower water if they were building a shower house. I think we'll set this one aside till spring and see if we have any other wonderful ideas that come to mind for its use. The other thing they had there, but I didn't have a chance to ask the guy about, was they had some of those white IBC totes. So if I could find one of those that had non-toxic stuff in it, maybe a food oil or something, where I could use that for something like rainwater catchment, I'll have to check into that. Alright, well, we're going to go hide this behind the cabin and out of sight, out of mind until spring. I think it was a good find for free though. Plus there was quite a few there, so I could get a half a dozen of them if I wanted them. Not sure what I'd do with them, but I don't know. I think next time I'll get the black ones. That'll look better than this stupid blue. But I thought if a guy buried this one, you wouldn't see the blue. Saying if a guy was going to do that. Really wouldn't matter what color it was. It's too bad all this ash has been rained on and snowed on. All the good stuff has been leached out of it, but otherwise I'd throw it on top of the garden beds. Well, if we're going to have a bonfire tonight, we better rake up some of these leaves so we don't set the entire national forest on fire. I don't know if mulching the blueberries every year makes a difference as far as survivability, but I do know it makes a difference for the deer not being able to get to them. One thing I've noticed having a very small living space is that you have to keep on top of it when it comes to being clean. You just can't afford to let it go or it just becomes a pigsty so quickly. There's just no room to escape it. I suppose we should take a look at this mower while I'm thinking about it. We might be in luck. This might be an easy fix. Oh yeah, the wind's picking up. Oh yeah. Oh, and she's picking up. might go, folks. She might go. Doesn't sound very good, does it? Didn't sound good, did it? But it might be good enough to get her to go. I'm not sure where that came from, but I don't think that's supposed to be out. On tonight's menu, we are having venison enchiladas using canned venison from 2018. Found a jar hidden away in the pantry and figured since I've been canning the deer from this season, wanted to make sure that we've been using up anything that's left over. So as you can see, when I can venison, I just put big chunks in the can and give or take about a pound, more or less, whatever fits in a pint, and it cooks while it cans, and it ends up being like shredded beef. It is so delicious. Green chilies, enchilada sauce, bought a little red pepper. Bit of cumin, cayenne, All right, well, I'm going to let this cool for a little bit, and I will catch you guys after supper. Just an amazing morning this morning. Frost on the ground and no wind. So I think I'm going to take this opportunity to burn up some of this miscellaneous sticks and brush that I cut off those popple trees that I took down. Be a good day to burn some of that stuff up, I think. Somebody was hungry this morning. Figured I better take a look at this snowblower and make sure she's in running order before the snow flies in the next week or so. One thing I learned the hard way is I only use premium gas in my small engines now. I just took the snowblower out to give it a once over, and I'm glad I did because apparently I forgot that I used this emergency shear pin last year. I should probably fix that before it breaks off and I end up with a nail in my tire. Seems to be just fine. There. Actually have two real shear pins in there for once. That's a miracle. Well, what's the chances the old girl is going to start? Pretty good, I'd say. Oh, that'll work. That'll work. Well, apparently I did have enough oil. An extra quart hiding that I didn't know I had. All right, air's in the tires, fresh oil, fresh gas, fresh shear pins. Tell you what, I could keep a village warm with all the scrap wood I have around here. Most of it's punky and rotten, but you can figure out a way to make it burn good. It is so nice that we're getting these extra days to do all these last minute tasks. Because once it snows, we're not going to see half of this stuff, and then we're going to be tripping all over it, and this is going to be frozen to the ground. Alright everybody, I'm just cutting up a little bit of wood and tending the bonfire, but it's getting kind of late. It looks a lot lighter in the camera than it does in real life, but I think we're going to wrap things up on this video so it doesn't get too long. I've got a couple videos going at the same time with different projects, so you'll have to bear with me, but we'll be back soon. I'm going to say goodbye for now, but you know the drill. I love you, and we'll see you soon.